Welcome to Her Time to Retire. I'm Dillon Woodruff, your host today. I'm a certified financial planner and advisor here at Keystone. And really, this podcast was created to have women at the top of their field, the top of their game, on to share their insight and wisdom to our listeners. And today, we're extremely excited about our guest, Tammie Osborne. Now, a little bit about Tammie. I'm going to read this so I don't miss anything. She has a very impressive background in what she's been able to accomplish this far in her life. Tammie Osborne is an experienced small business owner, established healthcare executive with a passion for equipping others to succeed. Tammie has 29 years of experience in healthcare as a technology executive leader, EHR/EMR consultant, clinician, and an enterprise program director. In 2012, noticing a need for additional support for healthcare organizations as they implement and adopt new technology, Tammie founded Bridgemore IT Consulting, where she continues to lead as CEO. In 2020, Tammie saw a new opportunity to support other working women in her community by providing a co-working and event space. In response, she founded the Sapphire Suite, a luxe co-working environment where women can focus, grow, socialize, and excel in the midst of their busy professional and personal lives. With her extensive leadership experience, her career-long focus on innovation, and her commitment to collaboration, Tammie is uniquely equipped to build a space that not only helps women be productive, but also provides the support and community they need to feel confident going after their dreams. Wow. So, like I said, very impressive what you've been able to do. Just reading that little bit of people that don't know you just by that, a real go-getter, not afraid to chase after what you want. So tell us a little bit more about your story and how it is that you're here today.
Well, I am a nurse by background, and after 13 years of, patient care nursing, working in a range of fields, doing a lot of things, but just regretted not going into technology, had a love for that, and decided to make that transition and started pursuing, a position in that field, and luckily landed one with McKesson, which at the time was the largest, EHR provider, and had an opportunity, had some lengthy conversations with husband, and had made the decision to pursue that and travel around all over the country, helping hospitals and helping physicians especially. That's really where my passion lies, is with physicians and executive leadership when they're doing new projects and understanding the impacts that it's going to have on the hospitals in terms of operations, in terms of patient care, in terms of, clinician satisfaction and provider satisfaction, and helping them sort of navigate that technology. And then
Right. And so you're nurse by trade and passion for technology. And so what was it that then prompted you to want to go to the Sapphire Suite? First, tell us a little bit about what it is.
Okay.
And then how you made that transition.
Sure.
You've been IT, and now why take on this new adventure?
Okay. So what the Sapphire Suite is it is a place for women of Williamson County and the surrounding area, whether they're a mom, whether they're a business owner, whether maybe their business, like I said, is just running the house. But it is a place for them to come together where they can be comfortable. We have a very luxe type feel. It's more like a home setting, even though it has that professional setting as well. So the goal was to give them a place where they can come, be productive, be surrounded by other women. We have a lot of amenities that make things efficient for them. That came about just as an IT executive on the road all the time. COVID hit, was trying to do a lot of that from behind the computer screen. And what I do in large project management and executive consulting, it's all based on relationship management. And that is so hard to do from behind the computer screen. Mm-hmm. And so when COVID hit, and as a solo business owner, I thought, well, if I'm in this position, so are others. Mm-hmm. And took it from there.
And so, for
There's
those
a
of
few
you
steps
listening,
in between, but
for those of you listening, this is Sapphire Suite has we're almost 2 months in now.
Yeah. So we're almost 2 months in.
Yeah, so almost 2 months in, but this really started in the middle of COVID. You saw a need being stuck at home. You said the house, the walls started coming in,
Yep.
space getting smaller, so you needed somewhere to go and work. And during that time, you saw an ad for a space like this. And so talk about from the time you saw that, the steps that you then
Sure.
started to do and to where you are now with the Sapphire Suite.
Okay. So first step was reached out to the other space, went down for a visit in Buckhead,
Okay.
spent the day with them. She was, as another female business owner, willing to help, support, shared lessons learned. Drove back from Atlanta and all the way back, started thinking about commercial space in Franklin. That probably proved to be the biggest challenge, but started working on finding commercial space and finally found a location and then worked with an architect because it was a complete build out, drafted out that layout in my head and then working with the architect to get that down on paper to something that the city of Franklin would approve. And we've had a general contractor come in, and so we started construction and negotiated the lease. And
so with this, so obviously you really have always seen a need or a passion, whatever it's been in your life, and you seem to be the type of person that immediately starts to put, an action or a plan in action and then pursue that. Where did that work ethic come from? Who instilled those values in you?
Both parents, really, in terms of, I've always had that belief that if there's something that I want to do, I can do it. I'll figure it out.
Right.
And if I can't, I'll ask somebody. I just don't tell me that I can't do it.
Right.
If it's something that I want to do and something I believe in and set my mind to, just figure it out. You just keep plugging away until you figure it out.
Right.
And so, never really thought I can't do this. It was more the thought of why not me? Someone's going to do this. Why not me? Why can't I do it? And I watched all four of my parents. I had mom, dad, stepmom, stepdad. Never really, gave you the impression that you couldn't do anything.
Right.
In terms of, and we're always very supportive. I always knew they were proud. But yeah, I think it was just, I grew up in a really small town and was determined not to stay there.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and so you said, one thing that stuck out, if I didn't have the answers or didn't know exactly how to do it, I was going to find someone who did. And so what has that looked like through your successes? Do you have coaches and mentors, or is it kind of self-research? Who do you rely on for your inspiration and knowledge on these areas that you might not necessarily be an expert in?
Sure. I think it's both. I'm not afraid to go out there and research it and, figure out what needs to be done. But at the same time, I've also been very blessed to be surrounded with wonderful people in my career. I've had, CNOs in the healthcare setting that were extremely supportive and, that I still enjoy a great relationship with today, and we mentor each other kind of back and forth now. And then as I transitioned into the IT world, I had a CIO who was very supportive and along that same mentality of there's nothing that you can't do and, anything's possible. We just need to figure out how. And just other executives that I have been around. I've always felt like my husband was a great leader as well. He had a lot of leadership experience and leadership advice, but just really been very fortunate to be around great leaders.
And then I know you're also involved in Tennessee Women Connect, and so has that had a part in this as far as seeing the amount of women in business, especially in the Nashville area? Was that another deciding factor when you were looking at this space? We need somewhere just because of the amount of women in business in our area.
Right. Yes, Tennessee Women Connect. Lucy Miller, awesome organization that she has put together to give women an opportunity to network, and would strongly encourage people to check that out. But what started out as a way for me as a business owner and a female who had been out of the community for so many years, because my community was out on the road every week for the last 10 or 11 years. And so that was a great way for me to then start to get to know women here in the Franklin-Williamson County business scene. And so started attending those events, kind of as they were coming out of COVID, and Lucy was starting to have those events. And really, there's so much going on in Nashville with women in business, and there's a big spotlight on that. And the thing that kept coming home to me during those networking events with Tennessee Women Connect is there are some amazing business women right here in Franklin, Brentwood, Thompson Station, just this Williamson County area. And where do we go, and where do we go to support one another, and not just women in business, but small business owners, that are coming out of COVID, and we don't have a brick and mortar, so we don't have a place on a regular basis to have a client meeting or an employee meeting. We need a space, and if I'm feeling this, others must be feeling this. But great organization which helped me start to really see that, Women in Business with the Chamber, just how many women in business there are here in the Franklin area.
Yeah. We've hit on it a little bit earlier, with your success. You're still the CEO of Bridgemore IT Consulting, so very successful already. So what motivated you to take on yet another adventure outside of, why, when do you say, enough is enough, I have enough on my plate, or what motivates you to keep on going and adding these things?
Family motivates me a lot. And I have an operations manager in Cincinnati who really does an awesome job with Bridgemore. And, I joke and say I just sign the paychecks and deal with like HR issues. But she does a great job at that. And so that really frees me up to do a lot of this. And so for me, the difference was I'm either going to be engaged full-time with a client or I'm going to be building this business. And so the vision was really to build this business, get it off the ground, and then continue to do healthcare IT executive consulting, which I still do and work with some clients. But I never really stopped and thought I can't manage both. It was just looking at the next 5 to 10 years and where is one, where could the other one potentially be, and there are a lot of multi-business owners out there.
Yeah.
Again, why not me? Why can't I do it? If they can do it, I can do it.
Absolutely.
But family.
Speaking on family, so starting out with the IT, you said you were traveling constantly for that first year, stopped, and then we're back on the road. And now with this new business, how have you been able to balance both business and family? And what advice would you give to women who are struggling with that?
Well, mine are older now, so they're 20, about to be 19 and 17, and so obviously that makes it a little easier. They have a little more freedom and, a little more flexibility, and about to be an empty nester, here in another year or so. But I think you have to have those conversations with your kids. I think you also have to realize, like, for example, my daughter, she sees me as a hard-working female running her own business, has that I can do it mentality, and so I think that's important. Do I have a lot of regrets about some missed events when they were growing up? Absolutely. There's mom guilt is a very real thing for moms at work, but I also think that I think your kids observe more than you realize and value it.
Right. Now, are you starting to see in your daughter some of you and her with that go-getter attitude, with how she is?
I moved her into the sorority house last week. Yeah, there's definitely some of me in there. But, I've also involved them in this business. I had her doing some graphic designs for me. I had, you ask my son, he's put together a lot of chairs and tables, and much, not always thrilled about it. But just having them involved in it, being present when you are there, and we all are in this day and age, we're all balancing technology and being present when you're with them, but really trying to take opportunities to do big things with them also, like special occasion, the things that we celebrate and the things that we do to celebrate the big occasions, making those very meaningful, and always being available as far as by text. They can always get me by text if I'm at work, or now if they call, it's you take the call, but staying connected to them that way and knowing what's going on with them, and that changes, as depending on the stage of life that they're in. And as teenagers, a lot of times they prefer to communicate by text, or they don't necessarily want to do the the face-to-face thing. Just kind of knowing what's always, always going on with them and trying to balance it. And, sometimes I do that really well, and sometimes I don't do that really well.
And then going back to the business side of it, with the new Sapphire Suite, what did you, use from Bridgemore Consulting, the experience you had there, maybe some challenges or things that you then used to help start this new Sapphire Suite? Were I guess were the challenges that you faced similar, or was it a whole new set of challenges since it was a different industry with starting this new business?
Whole new set of challenges.
Okay.
The healthcare IT space is something that, again, I'm always very comfortable in that arena because it's something that I am very passionate about and have loved that, and has just been a part of me forever, it feels like. So that was a very natural, and relationship management and getting clients through relationship management. So that's probably the common thread as far as the relationship management being the key, to getting clients, getting business, going after business, marketing yourself, marketing what you're offering. That, I think, is probably the common thread. What I do in the healthcare IT world as far as staffing consultants and providing resources to large groups. For example, we're on the Department of Defense project. I have projects on that. So we're a small business partner on that with Cerner.
Gotcha.
And Leidos. And so that is very different than all of a sudden I'm in the membership management and venue and event bookings and feel like I'm in the hospitality industry some days. And it is a different audience. It's a different demographic.
Right. Now, I know you're big on relationships. So with this new business, the Sapphire Suite, have you been able to build relationships, or is it more of kind of hands off with it with your members that come in? Or are you really trying to connect and build those relationships with each member that does come into the Sapphire Suite?
I'm very hands-on.
Okay.
And that was part of the vision, when I thought about this, is I want to grow it as a community. I don't want to grow it as just a space where women come in and sit down and work. I want to be able to say or recognize a need through conversations and building relationships with them so that I can connect them with another business owner who can help them meet that need or help mentor them, or that they can potentially mentor. And that's where we start to build that community of women. So I'm very hands-on and in the Sapphire Suite every day, knowing who comes in and out, having conversations with them or having coffee with them, talking about their business with them, getting to know them. And understanding what their challenges are and how we can support them.
Yeah,
there.
that's very similar to our story, with especially while we started this podcast, because we realized a lot of our clients were women, and of those women, a lot were successful business owners or in business, and they would come in saying, these are the problems I'm facing. Well, we just met with someone else that may have the solution to that. So being able to connect them, and it's really been a great benefit to them, and then in return to us. So it is just amazing, women more so than men, because we've had men clients who years into it, I had no idea they did this or that. They're just not. Women really connect and really supportive of each other, and sometimes men, it's the ego and thing of I want to figure this out on my own, and I want to be the one to accomplish this, where with you really wanting to be able to pour in and help in any way you can. This isn't what I've done, this is what we've done. And so really commend you for that. It's a great thing there. And so
it happens very organically with women also.
Yeah.
Like we can have 20 women in there and everybody can be working individually, and then someone will go over to get a cup of coffee and someone else will go over to get a cup of coffee, and all of a sudden there's a conversation at the island or around the island, and then a couple more are joining in, and then they move over to the seating area or the couches and more of the comfortable area, and you just it's fun to stand back and just to watch that happen. And we have some phenomenal members who have a range of skill sets and a range of businesses, and so there's pretty much always someone that you can connect them with. I'm struggling with QuickBooks, or I'm struggling with, it's like, let me introduce you to Carissa. She has she's a CPA and she has a consulting agency. Let me introduce you to her. She's been great for me. She's normally in on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Let me connect you with her. And then it's organic.
Another question, as someone, a woman starting, or maybe starting to think about opening or going out on her own, an entrepreneur, or just women in business in general, what advice would you have as they go through this world? What are the things that you've kind of picked up along the way that really have been beneficial to you?
Gosh, that would be a couple of things. One, somebody told me a long time ago, is do not take no until you get to the person who has the ability to tell you yes. And the other thing would be probably, don't quit. Don't give up. I mean, if it's something that you really believe in, starting with believing in yourself that you can do it. I'll be smart, about it as far as risk and those types of
Right.
things. But if it's something that you really believe in, do not give up. Do not quit.
Yeah.
Just keep getting after it and surround yourself with those that support your vision, that understand your vision, and that support your vision, but more importantly, that support you. Because that is where your motivation is going to come from. Once you put it out there, and it took me a while. It took me several months. I think the first time I really put this out there was at a Tennessee Women Connect
Yeah.
live conference that Lucy did, which she's getting ready to do another one, by the way,
Yeah.
coming up in October. But really saying that on stage for the first time, then it's out there. But
Yeah.
the biggest thing would be surround yourself with people that support you.
And then one more, I guess, about a question about you is, do you have any specific things you do to invest in yourself that way? Every morning when you wake up, this is the best Tammie that I can be. Is there anything that you would do that have really helped keep you sharp and going in that sense?
I think it's, for me, clearly I'm an extrovert. And so for me, I'm not the one that gets up at 5 o'clock and sits down. And, for me, it's the connections and the relationships. I think that's where my energy comes from is, when I get up and think about the day and kind of all the things that are taking place each day and just the great people that are coming through the Sapphire Suite, or, if I'm talking with a potential healthcare IT client, or those types of things, or something's going on with family. To me, it's really about the day-to-day life part of it, as far as that's where my energy comes from. That's how I pour myself, or pour back into myself. And from a professional standpoint, in terms of being a part of mastermind groups, I'm part of Brain Trust in Nashville, and then I've just recently started another, group with just incredible women around the table, and as a peer group, an accountability group, mentors. There are times at that table that I'm the mentor, and at times I'm a student.
Right.
And so that's really, I think, where I invest in myself, is looking for the right people to partner with, to to grow with and to learn from. That's really where, for me, where I feel like I'm investing in myself, is putting the time and energy into those connections and those relationships.
And you've done just that at the Sapphire Suite, correct? It's not just a workspace. You also have groups just like this that you're hosting to really be able to pour in your women, like you said, in turn you even or the student at times. So if you would just hit a little bit on that, it's not just this workspace, but what you've created.
It is.
In addition to that.
It is. So the goal is, it is a venue that, people can rent, so that it is available to the public. We are membership based as far as the co-working space itself, where women that are members have unlimited access to the co-working side from 7:30 to 5, Monday through Friday. The space is available after hours for private events, special programming events, those types of things, where people rent the space, have their own event. We are also doing some events that we will host and put on, a range of professional development events, some small business series. We have Dave Hardy, Team Logic IT, coming in a few weeks to talk about cybersecurity and keeping your small business safe. We have an HR consultant, Know Your Worth, when you're negotiating salary strategies, or when strategies to negotiate salary. So those types of professional development events. We're also doing some social events or health and wellness events. Tonight we have a huge event that Michelle is doing with the Beauty Boost Nashville. That's a part social event, part health and wellness education event. A group of women are doing a panel on health and wellness. So a range of social events, personal and professional development events.
That's awesome. Before we close, and I'll give you a chance to let everyone know, our listeners, how to contact you. But I thought it was interesting, the name of Sapphire Suite, if you would just spend a minute of how that came about, the inspiration there.
Sure. So originally I was going to call it Diana's Place. I feel like Princess Diana was one of the most iconic women in my time, and the reason I say that is because I look at her as she was a wife, a mother, a philanthropist, a businesswoman, later became a single mom, a divorcee. So she kind of touched all, areas for a woman, and always did it with such grace, and dignity. I felt that was my perspective, and then really started looking at that, and just one thing led to another, and one conversation led to another, and sort of what was she known for, her sapphire jewelry, and we started looking at the qualities of the sapphire, or the meaning behind the sapphire stone, and things like wisdom and loyalty and abundance, and really just that go get it sort of mentality, and lifting others up and support. And thought, okay, well, this is sort of symbolic for the type of woman that we would see being a member at the Sapphire Suite, or being a part of this community that we're building. And I think someone in marketing said, well, you have to have the double letters, or you have to, it has to, and so penciled on a napkin, the Sapphire Suite. And so
that's fantastic.
Big story there.
Yeah.
That was kind of how it happened.
And so if you would just let our listeners know if
Sure.
they are interested in the Sapphire Suite and connecting with you, where can they find you, follow you?
Okay. So location, we are located at 1201 Liberty Pike. We're in Suite 229. So we are right over. I'll share this. Just when I first would tell about the suite and we're opening this luxe co-working space, and people would say, where are you located? And I would have a really hard time saying it with a straight face that, we're located over Waldo's Chicken and Beer, but that is where we are located, and Athenian Nail Salon and Spa, but right on the corner of Liberty and Carruthers. We're on the web at thesapphiresuite.com, and Instagram at the Sapphire Suite, pretty much all the standard, LinkedIn, same thing, the Sapphire Suite, and we are starting to focus on LinkedIn a little bit, so go out and give us a follow there.
Well, Tammie, thank you so much for
you.
coming in, and it's been a real pleasure being able to pick your brain, and for you to be able to share your wisdom and insight that you've had, and again, a very impressive background, and I don't see that slowing down for you just with that go-getter attitude.
I don't know, I'm getting old.
Again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to be here.
Thank you, Dillon. I appreciate it.
And thank you to all the listeners today that tuned in. If you'd like, follow us on YouTube, or if you have questions for us here at Keystone, then feel free to give us a call or go to our website at Keystone Financial Resources. We'd be happy to help. And again, our desire here at Keystone is really to pour into those, whether it be your business, retirement, and not only help facilitate that plan, but really fight for you and challenge to live out that plan once it's been created.
You have been listening to Her Time to Retire with Glenn Price and Jonathan Scott. Glenn and Jonathan would love to talk to you and answer any of your retirement questions. All listeners can take advantage of a free 15-minute consultation with Glenn and Jonathan, whether via a phone call, Zoom meeting, or in person. You can schedule your consultation by calling 615-661-9554 or by visiting our website at www.keystonefinancialresources.com. Thanks for listening. The opinions expressed by Keystone Financial Resources and guests on this podcast are their own and do not reflect the opinions of this station. All statements and opinions expressed are based upon information considered reliable, although it should not be relied upon as such. Any statements or opinions are subject to change without notice. Investments involve risk and, unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Past performance cannot be used as an indicator to determine future results. Strategies mentioned may not be suitable for everyone. Information expressed does not take into account your specific situation or objectives and is not intended as recommendations appropriate for you. Before acting on any information mentioned, please consult with a qualified tax or investment advisor to determine if it is suitable for your specific situation. This program is designed to provide accurate and authoritative information with regard to subject covered. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Capital Management, LLC, or BCM, a registered investment advisor. BCM and Keystone Financial Resources are independent of each other. Insurance products and services are not offered through BCM, but are offered and sold through individually licensed and appointed agents.